If you thought a judge being attacked was shocking, just wait until you hear what happened next. Because this time, the violence wasn't aimed at the bench, it was aimed at the defense table. In this video, we shift our focus to another disturbing reality. From sudden punches to unexpected slaps, these incidents happened without warning and without reason. Lawyers becoming the target of violence from their own clients. Stay with us and make sure to subscribe to our channel as we explore the cases where courtroom trust was shattered in seconds. These courtroom eruptions keep proving that no one is truly safe when tempers explode inside the courtroom. Let's start our video. In February 2020, the courtroom fell silent as Christopher Teal, standing before Judge Donahue, suddenly slapped his attorney. Chaos erupted. Deputies dove in, restraining him in seconds. The hearing came to an abrupt halt. His lawyer remained unhurt and bore no ill will.
From his counsel, who I'll defer to in a moment, that they are now stipulating that Mr.
Put your hands behind your back now.
Teal's tension boiled over again 2 weeks later when he launched into a tirade, forced court officials to flee, and prompted the judge to relocate future proceedings. Despite these outbursts, Teal's case stayed on track. By December 2021, he was convicted and life-sentenced to over 8.5 years for the 2018 rape and unlawful imprisonment. Now imagine what happens when a lawyer gets his nose bloodied by his own client. In August 2019, a routine day inside a Phoenix, Arizona courtroom took a shocking turn. Lamont Payne, a defendant already facing serious charges for attacking a corrections officer back in 2016, was appearing before the court for the start of jury selection. The hearing was expected to proceed like any other, but what happened next would stun everyone inside that room. As the judge began speaking, Payne grew increasingly disruptive. He interrupted repeatedly, used foul language, and appeared agitated. His behavior escalated quickly, prompting the judge to order deputies to remove him from the courtroom.
Man, my lawyer ain't gonna speak up. It's plain and simple.
Sir?
You asked him a question just a minute ago about...
He should be the lawyer.
I've been giving him questions. He won't speak up.
Sir, that's because it's not his turn to ask questions. If you continue to have outbursts, I'm gonna have to remove you from
Now
the
it's
court.
appropriate time. I keep telling you he's a problem.
Deputy, please remove him.
But before deputies could act, Payne made a sudden move. With no warning, he turned and delivered a hard punch directly to his own attorney, public defender Vladimir Gagic, who was sitting right beside him. The punch landed on Gagic's face, leaving him bleeding and dazed. Shock filled the courtroom. Security officers immediately rushed in, restrained Payne, and escorted him out. The court session was brought to a halt. Thankfully, Gagic suffered no serious injuries.
I didn't feel any force. I didn't feel like pain or anything like that. It was just salty, right? Because you're tasting somebody's skin. It's kind of gross, but that's what I remember.
We've already seen lawyers getting punched or slapped by their own clients. But what happens when someone brings something even more disgusting into the courtroom? Let's talk about the case of Ricky Hand. It was June 2016 in Clark County, Ohio, and 46-year-old Ricky Hand was about to be sentenced. He had pleaded guilty to multiple armed robberies, breaking into businesses, threatening workers, and stealing valuables. The court was ready to hand down a serious sentence. At first, the courtroom was quiet. Then, Hand leaned forward and said something that no one expected. From underneath his arm sling, Hand pulled out several hidden bottles. But these bottles didn't contain medication. They were filled with his own urine and feces. With no hesitation, he began throwing the contents at his own defense attorney and toward courtroom staff.
This gave it 40 years. Well, guess what? Sir, this hand.
People screamed. Deputies rushed to restrain him. The courtroom was evacuated. It was later discovered that Hand had smuggled 4 containers of waste into the courtroom, completely bypassing security. The incident sparked outrage, not just because of how disturbing it was, but because it exposed serious security failures. Next up is a case of David Chiselton, a Cleveland, Ohio man, was convicted of assault and arson in a disturbing case. According to police, Chiselton had assaulted his girlfriend with a pistol, held her hostage, and then set an entire apartment complex on fire, putting multiple lives in danger. When it came time for sentencing, Chiselton appeared in court with his hands cuffed in front of him, a position that offers less control compared to traditional restraints. His defense attorney, Aaron Brockler, had argued for a 9-year sentence, hoping for some leniency. But the judge had a very different outcome in mind. Chiselton was sentenced to 47 years in prison. The moment the sentence was read, everything changed. Visibly furious, Chiselton turned and punched his own lawyer in the face, knocking him back in shock. And he didn't stop there. He continued to assault Brockler, landing multiple hits as courtroom staff scrambled to respond. It took several officers to bring Chiselton under control and restore order in the courtroom. Thankfully, Brockler recovered, but the incident left everyone stunned. Just when you think you've seen it all, one convicted murderer leans in and strikes his own attorney with a brutal elbow to the face. Joseph Zeeler, 61, shackled and flanked by bailiffs, had just entered. He was facing sentencing after a jury had convicted him for the brutal 1990 murders and sexual assault of 11-year-old Robin Cornell and her babysitter, Lisa Story.
Now, Joseph Zeeler was actually arrested for another crime, and that's how detectives were able to get his fingerprints and DNA samples. His sample was put into a database called CODIS, and that database also stores unknown DNA samples, including those from the Cornell Story case. Now, when the system ran, that's when detectives got a hit linking Zeeler to this 26-year-old murder case.
A cold case reopened by DNA years later. He glared around. His teeth, marked with the word killer, flashed as he demanded the courtroom cameras be turned off. Zeeler motioned toward his defense lawyer, Kevin Shirley, hunched close to listen. In that split second, Zeeler lashed out, his elbow snapping straight into Shirley's face. Bailiffs sprang into action, wrestling him to the ground within seconds. The gavel had yet to fall, but chaos ruled.
What's that?
In the aftermath, Zeeler was more heavily shackled and placed in the corner of the courtroom, isolated and under stricter security. Moments later, the judge announced the sentence: death, the ultimate punishment for the murders of Robin and Lisa.
Therefore, the court concludes that under the laws of the state of Florida, the defendant has forfeited his right to live.
In Kentucky, a violent and bizarre courtroom moment unfolded, this time involving 26-year-old Cody Jones, who was facing attempted murder charges in Louisville. According to police reports, Jones had attacked a 49-year-old man inside his father's home. The motive? A missing blanket. Investigators said the victim was asleep on the couch when Jones woke him up, accused him of stealing his blanket, and then suddenly pulled a knife. He stabbed the man multiple times in the neck and back as the victim struggled to escape. The front door was locked, and during the attack, Jones reportedly yelled that he was going to kill him. When police arrived at the scene, they found the victim seriously wounded, and Jones had barricaded himself in a room. After negotiating with him, officers were able to peacefully arrest him. In court, during the probable cause hearing, the prosecution called the lead investigator to testify. The officer recounted what the victim said, that he was attacked in his sleep, and the assault was completely unprovoked. Then came the cross-examination, led by Jones's defense attorney, Cameron McCoy. Jones began muttering under his breath, clearly agitated. But things remained relatively calm until the judge made a ruling. After hearing the testimony, Judge William decided to set Jones's bond at $100,000. That's when Cody Jones snapped. Right after the bond was announced, Jones turned toward his attorney and, with no warning, struck him in the face with a powerful headbutt. The courtroom erupted in chaos. Deputies rushed in and restrained Jones immediately. His attorney, stunned by the attack, received assistance, but thankfully wasn't seriously injured.
Inspector awoke him, saying that he had his blanket, produced a knife, and attempted to stab him. Got up, ran to the front door. The front door was locked, and the suspect proceeded to stab him multiple times while he said he was going to kill him. We took photographs of the scene. We collected 3 knives, and we also collected his shirt that he was wearing.
I hate, but you don't tell me what to do. I'm sitting here, file.
That's it.
Give me my paperwork.
Let's go back to a tense moment when the trial of Percy Phillips was already surrounded by controversy and tension. No one expected what happened next. It was during the prosecution's closing argument, a critical moment in the trial, when things took a shocking turn. As the prosecutor was making his case, Phillips suddenly turned his rage toward a police officer who had testified against him. Up to that point, Phillips had remained mostly calm and composed throughout the proceedings. But in an instant, that changed. In a sudden outburst, he threatened the officer, catching everyone in the courtroom by surprise. What followed was chaos. Courtroom deputies, trained for situations just like this, acted quickly. One of them drew a taser and tased Phillips on the spot. He collapsed immediately, falling to the ground, stunned and disoriented. But even while lying on the courtroom floor, tased and visibly shaken, Phillips still wasn't done. He reportedly continued shouting, showing signs of distress and emotional agitation.
What, man? What, man?
Courtrooms are supposed to be places of order, but as you've seen, chaos can strike in an instant. When even defense lawyers aren't safe, it's clear no one is. If these shocking moments grabbed your attention, there's a lot more coming. Subscribe now and stay tuned for more real courtroom drama you won't believe.